Now, there came the point where I had to ask myself whether I was going to make the effort to locate and procure the correct diaphragm, seal, etc., whatever, for rebuilding the original pump, or whether I was going to go ahead and buy an aftermarket. And definitely did not want to buy the $18 crappy Chinese pump, whatever. But I saw this Delphi option here, and as you can see, man, it really kind of looks as though they've designed it after the original. Some definite obvious differences, but really seems to be very similar. And Delphi has a very well-respected name in pumps, so I felt pretty good about the decision. I'm going to wind up putting this thing in tonight and seeing how it goes. But one thing I definitely am going to do before I put it in is make sure that this surface right here is not just the bumpy cast finish. And I'll put that on my surface plate with progressive sandpaper to get it all nice and smooth. And hopefully this thing will prove itself. We'll see what happens. So I went ahead and started with 100, went to 220, and then to 600. Basically because that's what I had. I've got 1,000 and up, but I just don't think that's actually important. Looks like that's probably going to work just fine by my eyes. So we'll put her in and see what happens. Measuring the existing and the new fuel pump rods, the existing fuel pump rod was about 30 hundredths of a millimeter shorter than the new rod. So that ought to make some difference. My last fill up was 80,937 miles. We are at 81,143. Let's see, 143, 63, 210, give or take, miles. Now, mind you, might have had a few miles since that fill up before putting on the new fuel pump, but not many. So I've got a couple hundred miles, give or take, on this pump since it was installed. And no leaking whatsoever. Doesn't necessarily make a huge comment onto whether it's a really, really great high quality pump. Time will tell, but it's definitely doing the job so far. I'm pleased with it. Not sure if I mentioned it before, but I did have to undo all of these screws here so that I could twist the top of the pump into the correct orientation for the Type 3. Type 1 would have had it one turn to the counterclockwise direction. And that went fine, apparently. I know this thing really doesn't fit the appearance of the car, but, you know, it doesn't kink like the other one did. And so for now, I'm just going to call it good, and eventually I'll get something that makes more sense. But car's been running great, ish. I think my carburetors need a little adjusting, or really probably more likely a rebuild because I've already adjusted them, and I just don't think that they're quite great. But other than that, it's been running really nice. So